So this is our wear machine, or wear machine room. We've got 4 different wear machines in this room. So this was the original Alabama wear testing device. We're not using this machine anymore. We could, it still works, we just don't use it. It's got springs that apply the load for wear testing, and it doesn't go back and forth, it only rotates. So we don't use this one too much. This is the newest wear machine. It's the biggest one, and we're not using this one as much anymore for wear. It ended up being almost too big. We use this for fatiguing specimens, just going up and down. So we're not using this one to go up and down and slide like we are these two, which are the ones that we're using a lot for wear now. So these machines go both up and down, and they also slide back and forth. So they go up and down, and they slide back and forth. And so what I want to show you is how to use one of these wear machines. So this is one of the wear machines. I want to show you how to load specimens into the wear machine. So this is the well that we use. It's going to hold the lubricant, and it will hold our specimens inside of it. So I'll start off by taking my specimens and putting them inside of the wear machine. Remember before, when I talked about mounting, we said if we had a rectangle specimen, the long part had to be in line with this notch. So this is why. So we're going to, we got the notch here, and the notch, oops, it gets lined up with where these screws are. So I put this one in here. We've got a notch. It goes there, the notch, and the notch. So once I get all the specimens inside the well, I need to get it underneath the antagonist here, underneath these rods. So let me just show you these rods for a second here. The rods are what go up and down on this machine, as we'll see here in a second. Oops. They should, once I make it work, you'll see it goes up and down. So this, whatever is on the bottom of these rods is what's going to hit the specimens. So we've got different things that can go on the bottom of the rods. And you can maybe see that this one's got something different than the other ones. So most of these right now have got these little enamel cusps that we've mounted in acrylic. And so this enamel is going to be hitting on the specimens that are underneath it. This one rod here has got something different on it. It's got a little ceramic ball on the end. So we can either use ceramic balls or enamel or metal balls. We've got all 3. So I'll leave this one on here for a second, but you take them on and off by just tightening or loosening, and we can replace with whatever kind of antagonist that we want to use for the test. So the next thing I got to do is I got to get this well down underneath these rods. You can see it's not going to fit very easily right now. So the first thing that you could do is you could try to move the rods up in the air. So you do that by turning the machine on and just letting it run slowly until it gets to the top, and then stopping it. And let's see if we haven't. So now we actually have pretty close to enough room. Another trick we can do is to try to lift these rods up and put something here to hold them. And that gives us a little more room. So now we got plenty of room to slide the well on. And we got to stabilize that now. So these brass pieces here are what stabilize. So we put this one over here and this one over here. And I just have to line up the screws with the brass. And we could start off hand tightening these, and then eventually we can use a little Allen wrench to get them all the way tightened down. I'm not going to tighten them all the way down right now. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to get the rods ready so that they're that they're all at the same level. So let me show you what that means. So if I take this out, and I take this one out, you can see that right now only this specimen is being touched and the rest of them aren't being touched. And if we ran the machine like this, it would look like this. Only this one would never be going up and down. Only these ones would be going up and down. So you have to make them all the same height. And the way we do that, the way we figure out how to do that, is we start off by aligning all the rods in a certain position. So we turn the machine on, and if you want to show the video right here, there are two little lines on the side of the machine. And we turn on the machine and stop it when we get these two lines to be aligned with each other. And what that's actually doing is this is going up and down, and that stops it halfway in the middle between going up and down. And right when it's halfway in the middle between going up and down, that's when we want everything to touch. So now that we've stopped it in halfway in the middle, I'm going to loosen up these clamps here, and then make sure they're all completely loose. And once they're all loose, I'm going to wiggle everything so that all the rods drop all the way down, and then we'll tighten them up again. And that will make sure that all the rods are even, and when we turn the machine on, everything's hitting at the same time. So we have to loosen up the upper clamps here and loosen up the lower clamps. The lower ones are with the screwdriver, the upper ones are with an Allen wrench. Now you can see that one just dropped down. So now everything's loose. I'll make sure they're all nice and loose. There we go. Nice and loose. And now that they're loose, everything's dropped down, we tighten them up again. And tighten up the top. Top ones you have to tighten up really, really tight with the Allen wrench. And the bottom ones we tighten, they don't have to be as tight, but we're going to tighten those with the screwdriver. And for the sake of the video, I'll skip that, but we're going to tighten these ones. We don't want to tighten them too much because then we can break the plastic screws, but just get them pretty tight. Alright, so now everything is at the same level. So if we turn on the machine, we'll see that now they're all hitting at the same time. We're almost ready to start the test. Before we get the test started, we've got to fill this well up with our lubricant, something to simulate saliva. And what we're using is this solution, which is glycerol, or glycerin. We do 33% glycerin. So we get a little measuring beaker, and we'd fill it up with, say, 200 milliliters of glycerin, and then we go from the distilled water and we get 400 milliliters. And we've been storing them in this container here, which is 33% glycerin. And once you make a batch, you could use it for the next couple tests. Make sure you shake it up really well before you start the test. And then you just pour the solution into the well. And you want to pour it in there so that it covers the top of the specimen, but of course you don't want it to overflow. So all the way almost to the very top. And that was maybe even a little bit too much. So you can get if you make that mistake like me, you can get a little paper towel and soak up some of the extra so you don't make a big mess. So once you've got the well filled up, all the rods lined up together, you're ready to start the test. So for this machine, we have to make sure that we know how many times it's going to go up and down. Most of our tests are usually 100,000 or 200 or 400,000 cycles. So we can test it. There's a little display back here. To reset it before the test, you press this reset. Now it's set at 0. If you want to know how many cycles it's going to be running for, you press this button display. And so you can see right now it's set for 200,000. So after 200,000, it will stop running, and we can take our specimens out. If we wanted to change that, we press this button that says enter, and now it's flashing. And if you wanted to make it 210, you'd press this button. Now it's 220. If you want to make it 300, or 400, now you press that button. So you can kind of see how you can change the numbers here. So I'm going to set it back to 200,000. And once you get the number that you like, then you press reset again, and it's changed. So you can see display, and it's saying 200,000 because I set it back to that. So now the test is ready to start. In order to start it, you have to make sure that this button down here, run, is flipped up, and then you can turn this to the speed you want. And usually we set it a little over 60. 60 means it goes up and down 60 times a minute, and so that would mean it goes 1 time a second, which is 1 hertz, is what we usually run the test at. So now the test is running, it's ready to go, and after 200,000 cycles, we'll come back and we'll take everything apart. I'm going to show you right now how to take everything apart, assuming the machine has stopped. So first I'm going to make sure this is close to the top, so we'll turn it. Well, it already was close to the top. It's going down. Now it's back up towards up at the top. I'm going to lift these to get these out of the way. Put something in there to hold it. Now I can easily access. I'll unscrew these. Usually they'll be tighter. You'll have to use an Allen wrench, like on this side. Unscrew this, and sometimes if you can't wiggle this out, there's a little space here, and you can put a screwdriver and kind of loosen this. And now we'll take this out, and we'll rinse it off in the sink. And now, that was easy to get. Sometimes they're hard to get these specimens out. So if, like this one is hard to get out, we can use sometimes we can get a screwdriver, pliers. Let's see if this pliers will fit. So you've got the other screwdriver, the other pliers, and sometimes we can pull it out and pull this out. And now just make sure you clean everything off. Rinse this off in water really well and let it dry. And then get some paper towels. And we want to make sure that this is really clean, because if any of the glycerin gets onto this metal, it'll start to get really gross. So that's it. So I want to show you the only thing different between the machine, that wear machine, and this wear machine is that the timer is a little bit different, the way that the timer works. So what I want to show you is how to change the number of cycles that you can do on this machine. And it's written down on a piece of paper that's laminated, and it's also across on that piece, in that cabinet, on a piece of paper. So let's say we wanted to change this to 100,000 cycles. We follow these directions. So you hold down select for 3 seconds, and then we press restart 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. We press select 1 time. We press restart 1 time, and then we press select 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And it says change reset values with change values with reset. So we press this button at least 1 time, and then now we want to change this to 200,000. So we press select until we get to where the 2 is, and then we press reset to changed it to 100,000. And then it says hold down select for 3 seconds when done. So you go 1, 2, 3. And then it says press select 9 times until it says end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's it.